realized that I had said in our previous episode that was going to be our last one for 2021, but my trip to South Africa got canceled. Thank you, Omicron. And so we decided, and like shout out to my coworker Ninon. She was like, "You can't just be done after that. Like you can't just not have another episode." So my brother is here, third time, three-timer. He's like, I think you're only our second three-timer.
That's right. The first time was in that shed.
It was in the garage.
Wow.
Yeah,
I forgot. Yeah.
And I feel like it's every single time it's been in December.
Yeah.
Because this is when you're in town.
That's right.
So we are going to do what we did last year with you, which was recap the year because we're coming to an end. A lot of podcasts do like, end of the year recap, all that good stuff. So I thought, why not? Now, Brandon could not be with us. He's a busy guy doing photography and things like that. But got my guest host, who is a veteran of making content, has an amazing speaking voice, better than mine.
They're about the same.
Yeah. If you're just listening to the audio, you're going to be like, who is talking? This is insane.
Hey, this is Jeff Copeland.
Yeah.
Pictures Our podcast.
Yeah, man. So,
man.
It's really funny because, like, even doing the intro, I was like, hey, what up, guys? And then I usually wait for Brandon to, like, interject, and then you didn't. I was like, yeah, so. But anyway. So, man, we are going to be just talking about what's going on right now, what's new, what you got going on, what's been going on. And then we'll talk about, 2021 on like a personal level, like just what's happened with us. And then like on a macro level, like, what you noticed in the world and the culture and things that were impactful to you, things that you were upset about, things that you thought were really great, whatever the case may be. It could be anything, art, politics, all that crazy stuff. And then talk about some things that we learned this year, and then, going into 2022, what's to expect. So for people who do not know you, which is weird.
There's many people.
Yeah, no, but you're kind of a big deal in a certain scene.
In a small arena.
More and more people are getting more aware of you. Craziest thing, bro, before I let you talk. I was at a basketball game at Selena's job at Buchanan, and I ran into one of my old coworkers that I used to coach with. This guy I used to coach with, who now coaches at Bullard. And he was like, he's like, oh man, I'm so into cologne, and I discovered your brother. I was like, wait, what? And he was like, yeah. So I was like, looking for reviews and stuff, and I see this guy, and I click on it, and the name looks familiar, and the way he's talking sounds familiar. I'm like, man, who is this guy? And I'm like, wait, is this Jeff's brother? And I was like, yeah, man. I've been on this channel. He's like, what? Oh man, he's so good. So
wow.
The world is increasingly becoming more aware of you. So, but people who don't know, man, like put them on game, man. What do you do? All that good stuff.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I want to take notice that again, this is my third time here on the show, and every time has been an immense upgrade. The first time, which I don't even think there was video at the time.
There was no video. That's true. We had the little USB mic in the middle, and for the first half episode, it wasn't even plugged in or something. It was a disaster.
So then last year, of course, we're in this same room, but it did not look like this. It was just like a regular living space with a couch, and then here we are. So just amazing to see the growth.
Yeah.
Just kind of step by step. So yes, I am Jeff's brother, twin brother. And we have been twins for a long time.
Quite a bit. Most of our lives, I think.
Yes. And I currently live in Portland, Oregon. But I bounced around a bit. I was in Chicago for almost a decade before that. Did grad school and all this stuff out there, and been in Portland almost 4 years now, which is crazy.
Wow.
3.5 years.
That's
I think.
wild.
Yeah, and I'm a musician. That's a lot of what I do. I play the trumpet. Professionally, I'm playing around town. I play out of town here and there, and I teach a lot. I teach part-time at a couple universities.
Yeah, I was definitely going to ask you about that.
Yeah, doing that. And also, I have a YouTube channel.
Just also that.
It's funny because, I feel like my identity is the same everywhere I go, but it's kind of like reproportioned or shifted depending on where I am. In Chicago, which is where I started my YouTube channel, talking about fragrances, reviewing them, collaborating with brands, and that's mostly what I do. I give critical reviews on fragrance, and I explore the artistry of it, and also talk about the practicality of it, and so sharing what I love, but also trying to help others. Right. That's it in a nutshell. And when I started in Chicago, I didn't tell anybody what I was doing. Nobody knew, and I think I'd been doing it maybe 2 years before I left Chicago. And
that's true. Yeah, I remember when you came. I remember when you came and first told me. Yeah. I was like, "You're doing what?"
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're the first person I told, honestly, for a long time.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. And so none of my friends over there knew, even from the point that I left, like they had no idea. And then when I got to Portland, I started to become integrated into the music scene more. So then naturally people start to like look you up when you're new. So then I would have people, the next time I see them out somewhere, they're like, "Hey man, I found your YouTube channel," So that it quickly became like that was the face of me to the Portland scene.
Okay.
Because people started to find me that way. So then I kind of just embraced it over
there.
Right. So almost there's like two identities in two different places, but it's just like the fragrance is at the front here and it's kind of behind here. It's like you'll find it on this side, but
it's not the first thing you're seeing. And then,
Exactly. Nowadays, I mean, if you Google my name, just Justin Copeland, then you're gonna find my fragrance videos, which is kind of crazy.
That's just so crazy, bro. Like you're Googleable, like actually Googleable.
I mean, no Wikipedia yet or anything.
I'm waiting for that. And somebody's been saying all kind of lies. He grew up in
Uganda.
Immigrated to that boy's from Fresno.
Yes. So anyway, so that's what I'm doing in a nutshell. I basically kind of do 50-50 of both at this point. When I'm not doing fragrance, I'm doing music and vice versa. So in essence, I'm kind of working all the time.
Yeah. Pull the mic closer to you.
Yes.
Just the whole stand. There you go. So how many subscribers do you have on YouTube?
At this point, we're a little over 47,000.
47,000. Bro. Like the amount of people that I talk to on a daily basis that are like, "Hey, I heard that you have a brother," number one. I'm like, "Yeah, I got my job and stuff." Like, "Hey, I saw his channel. It's, oh my gosh, it's
Wait,
so
seriously?
good." Like literally all the time at church, if people would just be like, "Hey, I saw that your brother has a channel." It's a lot of people on there. I'm like, "Yeah, he's out here, he's doing this thing."
Wow, I had no idea.
It happens just quite a bit.
Stumbling on it.
They're just literally like, "Oh, whoa. Yeah.
Wow.
They're so good. Oh my gosh. Like it's so professional." Like, and my students, you're basically like a celebrity YouTuber at that point. They're just like, no, and then they always go, "I can't watch his videos. It's boring." I'm like, "Yeah, I know you're not gonna, they're longer than 2 seconds.
Exactly.
So you're gonna find them boring." But
Yeah.
But they are just so impressed when they're like, "He has what? Oh my gosh, he's like they're just like celebrities." Yeah, man.
Wow.
But
Wow.
that's I remember when you were just like, "Oh, I got people was following me," and like,
dude, yeah. I remember when I hit 100.
Yeah.
After like maybe a month or two, I was like, wow, 100.
That's pretty crazy. Yeah. I mean, the fact me and Brandon are sitting here at 164.
Yeah.
And it's still weird. Every time you check and you get more, you're just like,
man, you
wow,
just
like
finding
people,
like filing. It's like people filing into a room to see you.
Right, like you told us last time. Yeah. It's just like, wow, I'm sorry that you have to deal with us, but
no, man.
Yeah, it's just really cool, man. Like, cause it's weird, cause like you're just still my brother. Even when like you went live the other day, and for your patrons, and I hopped in, and I was just like, "Yo," and everyone's like, "Oh, is this Jeff the brother?" I was like, Yeah,
Yeah, dude, you're just
which is
like
weird.
you're an enigma.
Yeah,
Honestly,
it's crazy, bro. It's just like, because they only know you as that, and then they're like, "Oh, this is your brother," and it's like, "Yeah, like that's it.
yeah,
It's just that."
that's ground zero.
Yeah, man. So, so you have some besides the 47,000 subscribers, you also created your own fragrance,
Yes,
which we've talked about a little bit on the channel. But fam,
yeah,
you have your own cologne, dog. Like that is insane, and it's sold out.
it's sold out. Yeah,
That is
yeah,
wild.
It was on the market, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
so to speak. For I want to say it came out in May, and I think it was sold out by November.
Mm-hmm. Sounds about right.
Yeah, so that's like 6 months, and then it was gone. It was a limited run. It was
Yeah.
intended to be, so
Right.
came and went. But yeah, it was a crazy endeavor. It took almost 2 years to formulate it and get everything in order. COVID definitely played a role in that. And I mean, I didn't do it alone. I did it in collaboration with a fantastic brand of whom the owner I'm really great friends with, called Zaharoff in Chicago. And he really made it happen. But you know, he really gave us a space to be ourselves and to put ourselves into a fragrance, me and 2 other YouTubers. So, really cool experience. We're in talks of doing it again. So,
I mean, like, you're a kid from Fresno.
yeah. I mean, I think about that every time.
And
Yeah.
and it's like now you go with a major brand and you have your own fragrance simply because you make YouTube videos about
Yes.
them. Like,
Yes, I turn on the
just
camera.
thinking about that.
I turn on the camera and I be myself, and it's like that's what it takes.
Like the amount of humans on earth who do not have their own fragrance. The amount of people that buy cologne and perfume and stuff like that, and like this is somebody else, but you have your own. This is mine. I made this. My name is on this. Like that's
It's crazy.
crazy.
It really is, and I love how it came out.
Yeah, it smells good. I'm making a huge dent in my bottle.
Yeah,
I have to
same.
take breaks.
It was the fragrance I wore the absolute most this year. I just did a video on the fragrances I wear the most, and I'm a total nerd because I like track every single fragrance every single day on this.
I mean, it's part
database.
of your
Yeah.
YouTuber thing.
Yeah, and then I make a video at the end of every year, and I put everything in a spreadsheet, and it was by far the most I'd worn, that one.
Yeah, it's such an easy thing to wear.
Yeah.
Like not just because you're my brother and you're here. Like it is such a. It smells good. Like you don't get tired of it smelling good, and you can wear it with so many different things, different events and things like
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
Different weather. I mean, especially here in Fresno, the weather's not like super. It doesn't fluctuate like that crazy.
Yeah.
So like it works for most of the year.
Yeah, it works
which is
for
dope.
moderate
Yeah.
times. You know, and just a little bit of backstory on the fragrance, because you know it's like, yeah, I created a fragrance, but I want to illuminate like the purpose behind it, because again, Zaharoff, my friend George Zaharoff, he wanted us to say something with it. So what I decided to do, what made the most sense, is like, hey, let me bring my music and fragrance together. So the fragrance is called Brass and Soul, and it's intended to kind of illustrate for the listener, which is also the person smelling it, what my experience is performing, but in a very particular way.
Yeah.
So like I'm on stage in this particular room, like the feel of my trumpet in the hands, the songs that the band is playing, the ambience of the room, candles, and the smell of the wood and the walls, and someone gets a dessert, and all these things in the room that really, like within an hour experience. That's kind of what I'm trying to paint with the fragrance. So it was interesting. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but when it came out, it finally dropped. People were buying it, and it was done in a way where you had to buy it blindly. You can only buy it online. And the hope was that people who really rock with this, they're gonna be like, yeah, it's limited release. I support this person. Yeah, I want to buy it. So overall, the response was fantastic. People are like, man, this thing gets me so many compliments. I love the way it smells. I like how it changes. It smells the way you described. I love it. And then you had a good small camp of people who were like, this is not Justin. Like, this is not what I was expecting. Like, and let me tell you what I mean by that.
Yo.
Because when you first spray it on, and you can probably attest to this, it is invigoratingly fresh.
Yes, it's
right?
very citrus, like
Yes.
like really.
Yes.
It's like okay,
bright.
I just cleaned some stuff with some orange cleaner.
Yeah, a lot of mandarin orange.
Mhm,
Yeah,
a lot of orange.
Watery notes. It's spicy.
Yeah.
Very, very fresh, almost soapy in a way.
Yeah.
But it does change on the skin. Now that threw a lot of people off because, you know, on the internet, especially if you make YouTube videos, people will take from you what they want to take. So when they see me on camera, they see me as like just this super, just like a shadow, just this calm, just like, yeah, man, yep. Everything is dark. Everything I do is just like nothing at all. You know, just like this.
Sorry for getting too excited.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they expected like, oh, I thought it was going to be like dark and boozy and like tobacco and like a jazz club, you know, like a jazz club. This is not him at all.
How many jazz clubs have these people been in? That's what I want.
Exactly.
Very few, I'm sure.
And again, if they had, I made a video when I dropped the fragrance that explains everything. If they watched the video, they would have known.
Right.
So those who didn't watch it, they were showing themselves. And, you know, if they looked at the notes, they would have seen like, no, this is, at least it starts out very fresh. Because
Right.
it's like the trumpet being cold. You know, it's
Yes,
all,
yes,
everything had a
yes,
purpose.
yes.
But anyway, it was funny to really interface with people who were saying, this is not Justin. Like, oh,
you know me.
Yes,
Okay. You're telling me
exactly.
who I am.
Exactly.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, so that was funny. That was a really good, it was kind of, I had some difficulties with that at first. So it was a really good learning experience.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that when
Yeah.
we get to the things that we learned this year.
Yeah.
But moving away from the fragrance,
Yes.
you did something really big in your life recently.
Yes, I did something I've never done before.
Never. Hopefully you never do it again.
Exactly. And I got engaged.
Let's go. Joining the team.
Yes, I got engaged to my girlfriend, Grace, who is a godsend for lack of being, you know, I mean, it's cliche, but just there's a lot to go into as well. But the last time we were here, on the last show, you know, we weren't engaged yet.
Right.
We were talking like, I remember talking like pretty.
I remember you were like,
Clearly.
yeah, you know?
Like, this is it.
Yeah.
And, you know, and the funny thing is that I feel like after that point, I still had to go through a lot of emotional discovery. And, you know, really not even like in a sense of like, is she good for me? But it's like, man, am I ready? Am I ready? Am I ready? But I knew even from that point a year ago, it's like, if I'm not with her, then I'm a fool. Like if I pass this up, I'm a fool. It's like, that's my choice. I can choose to be a fool or not.
Wow.
I knew that from
There's
ground.
a sermon in there somewhere.
So I knew like, it's me. I have to figure it out. So I did. In fact, I didn't actually. It clicked. Like literally in a matter of days earlier this year, just like.
Yeah, I remember messaging. You think you messaged me on Instagram, I want to say. And we were just DMing about it. Just like about what you were struggling with and different things like that. And just being able to give you a little bit of advice. And then like, you know, fast forward, you told me, yeah, I'm doing it. It's going to be this weekend. I already got this, I got that. And then like the day you're supposed to do it, I didn't hear from you for the longest. I'm like, did he die? Like, did she say no? Like, what happened? You didn't hit it up till like that evening. Like,
It
happened.
Yeah.
Did it. I was
Yeah.
like, let's go. So
Yeah.
I'm excited for you, man. I've been literally telling anybody that asks, like, yeah, this is the one. He gonna marry this one. I've been saying this for over a year. Like, he's marrying this one. So, yeah, man, you guys are engaged. The wedding is gonna be end of May.
End of May.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be awesome, man. It's gonna be the hardest, most enjoyable, most frustrating, most fulfilling thing you do in life.
Totally.
It is, and it's there's so much security with it because like, you know, this person is like committed to you. They're not going anywhere no matter what. Like, which means like I could suck, I could like, be dumb or be stupid or whatever. And this person is like on my team. And they want to help me grow and support me. When you pick the right person, obviously, this is all predicated on picking the right person. Yes. And obviously, I think if God is involved heavily, then that's the thing that kind of actually makes it work. It's not necessarily two people.
Sure.
Because like you're gonna have issues. Like I've heard this quote for a while, and it says, relationships don't create issues, they reveal them.
Yes.
And so
I like that.
So you got to know that it's there, and then the thing that helps both of you get through it is actually your individual commitment to God. Because like the other person's gonna bother you, they're gonna piss you off, they're gonna make you mad, and you're just like, ugh. But then God's like, but listen, I'm telling you, you need to fix it. You need to figure it out. It's like, all right. So, yeah, I'm excited for you guys, man. I'm excited for the wedding. Went to a lot of weddings this year. Went to like 3, I think, 2 or 3, like in like the fall alone. Went to 2 in October. So which was great. But yeah, man, that's really freaking awesome. So we talked about your engagement. We talked about some really good stuff with your YouTube. You started teaching, you said. So how's that been? Where are you teaching at? How's that going?
Yeah, teaching, I have an interesting relationship with it right now.
Me too.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for the most part, it's enjoyable. I feel like I'm good at it.
Okay.
And, I've been teaching in one form or another for like 10 years now when it comes to music. And so right now I'm teaching at Portland State University. I'm teaching the jazz trumpet students. And then I also teach at a private Christian university.
George Fox
University. And there I also teach trumpet students. I'm the trumpet professor there. And also
really cool.
I will help out with some ensembles here and there. So, yeah, I've been doing that here. I mean, ever since I got to Portland, really, I kind of got plugged into those places and have been doing it. And, it's interesting. For those who don't know, I'm still finishing a doctorate.
That's okay.
Which is kind of like, I'm not really, because I haven't worked on it, but it's going to happen. And I started that to teach full time at the university level. That was the goal. Now, long story short, what I realized is that pursuit was one out of fear. And scarcity.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a word right there. Scarcity mindset.
Because I was told, and I had seen as a performing musician, like that's
the route to go to
safety.
Make a living. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. It's like if you want stability, if you want to be able to have a family one day, you can't just
go on tour.
Yes. Yeah. And I knew I didn't want to do that.
Right.
I started to realize like I don't want to be like touring 200 days a year and like have to take every single gig in order to pay rent kind of thing.
Right.
So that was something I realized a while back. And it came to a head when I was offered a job, full-time job, and I realized I didn't want it. I'm like, it's going to be 5 times as much as what I'm already doing teaching-wise. I'm like, I don't want that.
Yeah.
I really don't. And it was really kind of enlightening for me. And it also was very convicting because it's like, man, what have I been doing this whole time? Well, like, why did I do this? But I realized, like, okay, it wasn't for nothing. Connections were made. Great experiences were had, knowledge was gained, and I need to finish it. And then I'll have it in the back pocket. But as a result, like now that's not where my energy is going to go right now. Where it's at, the little bit that I am allocating to it is as much as I want to allocate. I was offered a couple of other part-time teaching positions over the past month or 2 that I've turned down. I'm like, nah, I don't want to put more on the plate.
Right.
So I'm doing as much as I can handle, and I enjoy it.
That's good.
So.
Man, dude, that you said that thing about scarcity, like that is like, so not to get super theological, but a little
Let's
theological.
do it. Let's do it.
I've literally just been learning about that, listening to a bunch of different people, different podcasts and things like that. And operating out of a scarcity mindset versus an abundance mindset, which it's human nature in our experience to operate out of a scarcity mindset, just to believe that there's not enough. And so I need to fight and compete and scrap and possibly like hurt others in order to like survive, because there's not enough. Not enough to go around. I got to fight for what I can get. Versus what Jesus teaches, which is an abundance mindset, which is like, don't worry about those things. Like, your God knows you need those things. Seek the kingdom of God first. This is Matthew 6, famous passage. And it's just like, don't be anxious about anything. Like, I got you. And it's like, how are you going to tell me not to be anxious? I got bills and stuff. What you mean? But it's like believing that God has packed creation with enough, with more than enough, and trying to live like that. Is something that I am wrestling with, like, currently, as we've talked about last night with you. But yeah, I mean, like, just even what you said about like pursuing that out of fear, I feel like I've been doing that for the last 10 years or so. Just afraid that, like, God, you're not going to provide, so I have to do this in order to, like, be safe and comfortable and take care of my wife and I. And then he's just like, no, go ahead. You're not going to enjoy it.
Exactly.
But go
he's
ahead.
Like, I'll let, of course.
Go have a great time, but you're not going to have a great time.
You'll see that this is not for you.
So, man.
I dig it. In
I
fact,
think that's great.
Grace has really helped me.
My wife has really helped me. Like, man, you're not happy.
Like,
you're not? No. I guess you're right.
Thanks for letting me know. No, Grace is, I mean, everything you've said, she embodies, and I know she gets it from her upbringing in the Word, and also just in the work that she does of really seeking an abundance mindset and believing in that. And she's really kind of helped to impart that on me, because I didn't realize. I mean, I did realize how small I was living. That's good. Because there was some times in my life, in the past, 5-ish years where, I mean, there was one day where I had nothing in my bank account. Like, literally, I looked at it and I had a zero balance. And this was like 3 years ago.
That makes me want to cry.
This was like 3 years ago, and I was like, oh.
I would have slid you a rack. Like, here's 1,000.
And I mean, honestly, when I think back to that time and I think of where I am now, man. It is only God.
That's crazy.
It is only God, because at this point I'm in a place I never imagined I would be.
You can't even, like, picture, like, literally, like, everything we talked about before about, like, the subscribers and fragrance and all stuff. I'm just like, I don't even have the creative capacity in my imagination to believe that is a thing that could be possible. And it goes back to Ephesians, where he says, like, now he's able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that you can ask or imagine or think. Like, the things that will help you, you can't even imagine what they'll be.
That's crazy. And also really beautiful.
And it's just like, why do I think that? Why would I even want to be in control?
Exactly.
When I don't have the imagination to imagine what I could be doing or what I could have. And God does. And he's like, bro, if you just move out my freaking way, I'm going to give you this, and it's going to be amazing. You're going to be like, oh, dang, I didn't know I could do this. Like, all the stuff that I've just, like I said, that we've talked about off camera, just like that I all of a sudden am going to do. I could have never pictured myself doing any of that, like, even a year ago. And so.
And the crazy thing is that we don't necessarily, like, you didn't change that for yourself. Like, let me go ahead and shift this so I can look at it differently. It's just like, it's like, wait, if I really look at myself now and I look back, like, it changed, but how did you change it? Like, what? What did you do? It's like, man. Been doing it.
So, I'm trying to think. Joe, should we take a break? Okay, we're gonna take a break, guys, and then we'll be back. Talk about some more stuff.
Indeed.
Hey guys, what's up? This is an ad, so bear with us. Don't skip it. Guys, we have a Patreon. We've been talking about it for a long time. We would love some more of your support. Okay, if you get anything out of this podcast, any gems, any like good information, knowledge, you feel uplifted and encouraged, please think about supporting us on Patreon. Become one of our patrons, man. We want to expand this thing, make this even better than it is right now. We have, done a lot of renovations out of our own pocket. So guys, like, please think about becoming a patron.
Yeah, because your support goes a long way. It'll help us continue to upgrade our cameras, our computers, our everything that we do here. But we literally can't do it without you. So if you feel led to, please support us through this platform and continue to support us as we continue to grow and give you better content.
Thanks, guys. Love you.
See ya.
All right, we are back from the break.
We are.
We are. This is true. Okay, so let's talk about what we came to talk about, which is 2021, man.
Yeah.
Overall, how was it for you, especially compared to 2020?
2021 for me was filled with immense growth. And honestly, I'm the type of person who historically I struggle to recognize growth.
It's because you're a musician. You're very hard on yourself. You don't think you're getting better at all.
Yeah. And the thing that's been very healing with YouTube is that the growth is quantifiable, like literally
there's
numbers.
Data behind it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good
So,
point.
that's a very narrow lens, but it is a great example of like, I can go back and I can see like, oh, in February of 2021, I had 33,000 subscribers.
Wow.
Now I have 47. It's like,
okay. Yeah.
but I've been so focused on this goal of hitting 50 by the end of the year.
You're like, oh, dang, I didn't reach it.
And I'm just like scrounging up this hill, not even looking at like the miles
how far,
I've come to this point. And then I look, I'm like, oh, that's like
it's a lot.
14,000 people.
Yeah, that's a huge
in a year.
growth. Yeah.
So I was like, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So then, seeing that kind of stuff, it makes me look at everything that way. Now, naturally in life, I think when you are pursuing multiple things at once, you cannot dedicate the same level of energy to everything. So some things will have more growth than others. That's definitely been a big point of growth for sure. And another point of growth has just been, just myself and knowing myself in the aspect of a relationship with Grace, because again, just being with her for the course of the past year has taught me a lot, whether or not she meant to teach me things or, whatnot. Just, again, we talked a little bit in the first half about, scarcity and abundance and she's really just very optimistic and very, just like, no matter what, we're going to find a way through. And I've always kind of been that way as well. And she's really kind of awakened that even more in me. So we really align in that way. And that's been a beautiful thing. Like, no matter what, like, we come into difficulty, we don't use ego to get through it. It's like our goal is not to protect our individual selves in this situation. It is to find a collective way through.
That's good.
And as long as we focus on that, I think we'll be all right. We'll find a way. So, there's been a lot of fortifying of that. And, that's really new for me in the context of a relationship, just being with someone that I know I can truly trust and who clearly is, looking out for me and I'm doing the same for her and we make each other grow. And it's just like both uncomfortable and just unprecedented all at the same time, in a really great way. So definitely learned a lot inwardly in that way.
Yeah, that's like definitely the micro level. I can definitely relate to that. Looking at, it's funny because like just on the podcast side, like because Anchor is owned by Spotify, we got a Wrapped. So we got a Spotify Wrapped, like just for our podcast, just on the Spotify side.
Okay.
Which is funny because I think, I don't want to misquote, so let me get the exact breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
But essentially, yeah. So only 32% of our listeners are on Spotify. So I only have data for 32% of our listeners.
Where's the rest?
42% on Apple Podcasts, and then 26%
Oh.
on other platforms, which are like, I use one of them, which is Pocket Cast. There's a bunch of other ones, but
Wow.
so the funny thing is, I just have the demographics and the breakdown and the numbers and the success, if you will, just on 32% of our listeners.
Wow.
But it was still really cool to just look at the Wrapped and to see like, you know, this many people are listening and this many hours and this many. It's just like, okay, like it is really cool.
Yeah.
It does kind of give you like just a really overall like, okay, how did we actually do? Because you're in it the whole year and you don't even really think about the fact that a year is passing.
Yeah.
And you're just kind of like, well, okay, what's next? What's next? Okay, that last video was like, this one was really good. That one was, oh, dang, okay, what's next?
Exactly.
And you're not even really understanding like the scope of time that you're not even measuring it, even though you should be, and it's being measured externally. Right. You're just like, anyway.
Yeah.
And then it kind of forces you to like back up and look at everything. Go, oh, okay, this is what's actually happened in this amount of time.
That's so true.
Yeah. So on the podcast side, like things have been really cool. In that sense, a lot of great feedback. Personally, it's been a really interesting contrast to 2020. Cause I think I said this maybe last year, even like 2020 wasn't that bad for me.
Same.
Individually. In fact, a lot of things happened.
Yeah.
Got a house, got a car.
Yeah.
I felt like on the job front, like I really enjoyed, I know I probably shouldn't be saying this, but I really enjoyed teaching at home.
Yeah, you got some clarity.
Like there were definitely aspects that sucked, but it was kind of nice to just be at home, you know, go in the kitchen, make me some coffee, just be wearing some shorts or whatever and hop on the computer and, you know, teach some classes and then kind of just have the rest of the time and just be at home, not have to worry about the drive home and all that stuff. Just, so that was kind of nice. And then like coming back, at the beginning of 2021 and then coming all the way through and getting to this point, man, it's been a really interesting year. I've learned a lot, like not only about myself, and, you know, just like I've learned like about like my own emotional and like my energy levels. There's this guy, this pastor named Kerry Newhoff. He has this really great podcast, a bunch of different things that he does. He just came out with a book called Your Best Self or something like that. I can't remember the title. But essentially it talks about how everybody has peak hours of energy. So like you might be awake for, you know, 12 hours, 16 hours, but you really only have like 4 like peak hours where you're at your best. I think the name of the book is like Being at Your Best, something like that. And so you have green, yellow, and red zones of your day. And so you've got to figure out where your green zone is and try to do most of your productive stuff during your green zone.
Interesting.
And then you got to match your green zones with the people you have to collaborate with and work with, right? So if your green zone is in the morning and you're like 8 to 12, that's like I'm ready to do a billion things. Yeah. Or your green zone is like 12 to 4 or whatever, 12 to 3, right? And then like my green zone is probably like mid-morning to like afternoon. So like about 9 o'clock to about 1. Once 1 o'clock hits, I'm like, I'm done. I have nothing left. I have zero energy. And so that's probably my yellow zone. My red zone is like 3 on, 4 o'clock. After work, I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't even want to make the smallest of talk. And so I've realized that I've gotten older. I'm like 32 now, going on 33. I'm not in very good shape, like physically, which affects my energy levels. So I get tired a lot quicker. So I've learned that. I've got a lot of knowledge about like theology and But I always was caring about that, but now I'm actually like caring about other things, which is really fascinating, really cool. I'm really enjoying. We're starting a church. I haven't even really told you, but we got a building.
You did mention you got a building.
We're gonna be moving in January 7th. It's gonna be our first time in it. Like we painted it. Selena did a lot of the work. They're putting carpet in this week. It's amazing, like the growth of that place. And so we're gonna be moving. We're planning on having our first service in the new year, which is wild. Like literally being part of planting a church has been crazy. Yeah, because I've learned a lot about myself in the fact that like I am actually in a position to be ready for the pressure and ready to be the teaching pastor. Starting seminary. I started taking a seminary class next semester and just, all those different things I've learned on a micro level in 2021, like what I'm capable of. I've learned that like I'm not that old. As weird as it sounds. Like, here's the crazy thing, bro. Like, I see what people are accomplishing like in their late 30s and 40s. And I'm like, oh, okay. I got time.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I used to be like, dang, I'm 30. I'm old. It's over. I'm washed up. Like,
that is the messaging that we're given.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, it's kind of inadvertent in a way, but we're given this, like, you hit your peak at, like, if you're not, like, in your career by 25 and then by 35, you're, like, set and just sailing, then you missed it. And it's like, no.
Like, the amount of, like, second and third careers that people have, especially like millennial Gen Z and moving forward, like the way that we are going to do stuff. We'll talk about that with going into 2022, but things are just different. I think I've always kind of lived in this professional athlete clock where like, all right, now I would be retiring pretty soon if I was a professional player. Like you see the people that you're the same age as, like, they're all like getting to the end of their careers in basketball and stuff. And you're like, dang, man. And LeBron's like 38, and you're like, how's he still doing it? He's got too much money to put into his body. And you're just like, man, I ain't got it. Like I would be retired. I would be at the end I'm at the end. And it's like, no, you're not. Like you're at the peak of, like, I think intellectually, I'm like just getting started. Like it's amazing. Like I'm like, man, I didn't know anything in my 20s. Like thinking about what I know now versus what I knew then, I'm like, yeah, I'd much rather be here than be there. Yeah. Like I think physically it's like, oh man, having the metabolism and the body and stuff like that would be cool. But I definitely appreciate more where I'm at now with like maturity emotionally and like intellectually and just all kind of stuff. I appreciate where I'm at now. Anything else on the micro level?
No, I feel you there. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really keen realization to have about like where you're at in your trajectory, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm not that far along. It's like I'm glad I'm at where I'm at. I've gained what I've gained, and I'm ready to just keep that going. Yeah. But there's so much more.
It's funny, like following God at this age, and I'm realizing like, yeah, man, like I'm a baby when it comes to like this relationship. I was thinking about it yesterday on driving around yesterday, just like, yeah, like I've barely been doing this for real with you, God. So it's like, he's probably thinking like, man, I got so much more to show you, and there's so much more that I'm gonna do with you, which makes me really excited. So on the macro level, as far as like what you observed in the society and things like that. Obviously, we're both black men.
Yes. Undeniable.
Yeah.
Indisputable.
Yeah. So, what did you observe from the culture, the country, the world in 2021 that maybe you thought was cool, maybe you thought it angered you, it worried you, upset you, concerned you, anything like that?
Jeez.
There were some really high level trials recently. You had the the Ahmaud Arbery.
Yeah,
they were found guilty.
Finally, yeah.
You had the whole that Kyle Rittenhouse guy, which you know during the research, it's like okay, like I don't agree that he was there. That was really stupid. Why you go somewhere that's that volatile with an AR?
Mm-hmm.
But it was definitely self-defense. Like, I think it showed me, just you have to be careful with like the reaction, like the mass reaction of people, and just kind of like agreeing with them like automatically without kind of doing your own research, because it seemed like the left politically, the left response is that he's a racist. This was racially involved. It wasn't self-defense. He's the bad guy. You should agree. If you don't, you suck. Versus like, and then the right's like, no, you know, he's a hero. But it's like, okay, both y'all is wrong. I think he was an idiot 17-year-old kid who put himself in a bad situation, but then had to defend himself from danger and did that. And so, and it's really interesting, like the whole racial aspect, because I didn't really know a whole lot about it when it happened. I just knew there was a protest / riot over the black man that got killed in Wisconsin, in Kenosha, Wisconsin, which is the street that we grew up on, which is hilarious. And then the protest happened, and then this kid goes there, and there's like these militias that are there that are not police. This is insane. But the people that he killed were not black.
No.
Like I was like, oh wait, really? You just automatically assume, okay, high profile shooting, it's got to be a white person killing a black person. You just automatically go there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But
I feel that, and you know, I don't, in terms of the racial aspect of his motivation, I don't think that is a thing. I agree. But I do think that the handling of the situation, the racial aspect does play a role, because if he was a black man, it might be different. We don't know for sure.
Right.
But the fact that, I mean, he was completely acquitted, right? I mean, I think that is an issue because, even though he didn't, I mean, to take a gun into a volatile, hostile situation, it's like, what were you coming to do? Like, were you coming to just watch?
And like the thing was, it was like, oh, I'm here to protect property in my neighborhood. You drove 45 minutes, big dog. That's like you living in Tulare and going, I gotta go to Fresno and protect some stuff. Like, so that was weird. Like, again, I can't speak to his motivation because I'm not in his head, in his heart. Only God knows what his motivations were.
You know, but I think that the reality is that he made a mistake.
Correct.
And that mistake needs retribution of some kind. Now, it doesn't have to be the most severe form of punishment, but for it to be absolutely nothing.
Yeah. I mean, it's so I know the first person that attacked him had just like escaped an insane asylum or something, was trying to hurt him. Like that was, so he like, oh my God, he was like scared he kills the dude. And then the other protesters like, oh, this white kid with a gun is an active shooter. That's what I would be thinking. And he's like, he just killed somebody, some innocent person. That's what they're thinking. So they tried to hit him with a skateboard, like the truck that was coming. That would have killed him. So he's like, you can tell that in the video, the kid is freaking out, like trying to get away. He's very uncoordinated and unathletic, so he's like tripping over himself. Yeah. He shoots that person. I think they died, and somebody else was like trying to pull a gun. Again, thinking this kid is an active shooter trying to kill people. That's what you're thinking. And then he shoots, and that person doesn't die, but he does get shot. So it's like, okay, if you take it just specifically in that scenario, it is self-defense, right? So you kind of can't bring in the whole motive, like, why are you there in the first place, right? I think that's probably the only thing that you can criticize is like, you shouldn't have been there, dummy. Yeah. But, I mean, it's weird, man.
I mean, people get convicted for crimes for manslaughter.
Yes.
Which is an accident.
Yes. No, this was not an accident, right?
Exactly.
Because but then it's like, okay, self-defense. Like if somebody tries to break into my house,
yeah,
I'm shooting you.
yeah, but this
I'm
is
not accidentally shooting
yeah.
you. I'm trying to shoot you, but I'm defending myself. Like, and it's such a tricky thing. And it's like, you can't take this one incident. It's hard to do that because we've had so many. We're coming off of George Floyd and Derek Chauvin and all that. We're almost conditioned to lump them all together and just they all have the same outcome. They all have the same motive. They all have the same, like, you should feel the same way about all of them. Like, shooting, racism, done.
Yeah.
They're bad. They're good. The end.
Yeah.
Right. One thing so to answer the question about what I've learned in this year is just like, man, nuance is really important. Complexity has to be like valued, like the fact that situations are complex.
It's true, and that's a hard thing to come by on the internet because, as you said, everything is held to the same standard on the same plane, and it's like you just put them all next to each other and they're equally weighted. Yep. So I agree with that. Yeah, nuance is very important, and even a rarer commodity these days because the internet, you can make whatever narrative you want to make, and then you rally people, and that's it.
And
no nuance.
It's funny because, like, with the Ahmaud Arbery case, I didn't know. I've learned a lot of this recently, but so the dudes, these were like private civilians that shoot and kill him. They didn't get arrested until like 70 something days later, only because there was a huge social media outcry.
That's right.
And I guess the prosecutor was like friends with them and was like trying to help them get through it. And she's under investigation.
That's right. Yep.
I'm just like, fam, like, so like people get upset. And I think I'm talking about the right side of things politically, gets very upset with the narrative that's pushed right on social media. But unfortunately, guys, like you got to realize that this is an example of why we need social media. Because if there was no social media, these guys would be just chilling after innocently killing somebody and killing an innocent person. Like and
it's fine on video.
Yeah, like
evidence.
Like the fact that it took the people having to go, hey, this is horrible, to go, all right, I guess we'll arrest these guys. Like, fam, like what is going on out here? So.
Totally.
Yeah, man. It's just 2021 ultimately was a continuation.
Yeah, that was the first thing that came to mind when you asked me. It was like more of the same.
More of the same. It's just more of the fact that as a black person, as a black man, I can never feel completely comfortable wherever I'm at.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if I'm going to fit a description. Like that's just the number one thing is just like, do I look guilty? Like, do I look like somebody right now? Like, I wonder how I look. Every time I go to the gas station, every time I go to the store, anywhere I go, anytime I'm just driving down the road, especially living in the area that I live in now, it's just like, I wonder
especially
what the perception is. Yeah. Are people going to be like, hey, are you supposed to be here? Essentially like, hey, what are you doing here? Where do you live at? And it's like, man, it's like, I don't want to dignify that question with an answer because you don't deserve to know why I'm here. I shouldn't have to explain why I'm here.
That's right.
Right? But if I don't do that, it's just going to further make you upset, further escalate the situation. Yeah. So,
yep, totally.
Yeah, man. But yeah, it's just like you said, it's just more of the same. It's just more evidence of like, yep, I'm still a black guy.
Still alive and well.
Yeah.
We still have to tread lightly and with just being smart and being aware. And it's sad. It is sad, like if I'm, just the little things, walking on the sidewalk, and if someone's coming the other way, it's like I'll make room. I don't want to make them uncomfortable, or not wearing a hood or indoors, or keeping your hands out your pockets. These little things,
man. Yeah, I totally. And then you live in Oregon, which is like, wow.
I mean, yes, it's kind of everything all at once. Portland is its own little beast because it is full of just like very liberal people who really do seek equality and justice, almost to a point where it can be uncomfortable.
It always makes me going like, okay, why do you care about it so much? I
Very,
feel like it's because this is the stance that your political group has taken, and so you want to win and be right. I don't even know if you actually believe in what you're fighting for.
I mean,
You know what I'm saying?
even at the very least, it's like if you're gonna fight for it, it's like you got to understand exactly what it is. And frankly, a lot of these, as much as the advocacy is appreciated, it's like these. I don't want to use labels, but a lot of these white people who are very beautiful and nice people, they may not have friends who experience these things. So, it's like it's almost blind advocacy. It's like we just have to. It's like, and it's like we need that.
Sure,
we need that. But when it comes, sometimes it can just be uncomfortable when people are like, "I see you," and it's just like,
okay, chill,
like just,
bro.
How about we just see
you don't see me because you don't know me.
Yeah. So anyway,
Okay.
I don't want to. I don't want to make it seem like it's an issue, but
Right,
it is.
right.
It's its own vibe. Now, outside of Portland, I mean, thankfully, I don't have a full scope of what that is, but I've seen, like driving out of the city in certain directions, and you're in forests, and then you see like Confederate flags. I'm just like, all right, wow, what a contrast.
Yeah, man. That's crazy. So, yeah, man. Macro level, it's just it's more of the same. It's having to represent still an entire race. 2 people be the representative. It's still exhausting. Nothing's changed. Still exhausting. It's still hard to have to be like super articulate and kind of like go against what they expect. But at the same time, there's a party that wants to rebel and it's just, I'm black.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
And honestly, I think that's what we need to do. Because I mean, to an extent, and like, in whatever way it feels authentic to us individually. But there should be no hiding. There should be no masking of like.
That's one of the cool things. I feel like the space that we're in right now, the time that we're in right now. Like, I know for me personally, like with my relationship with God, like just appreciating what He's made me. Like He's made me this way. Like He sees color. Like He's not colorblind. Like He made it on purpose, and He values it. But another thing last thing I'll say that I learned on the macro level is like, I think there is an over, what's the word? Like an over grasping of ethnicity to where it's like superseding following Jesus. Where people are like, I'm black and then I'm a Christian, or I'm this and then I'm a Christian. It's just like, and you're actually forcing like black issues ahead of stuff. And this is the thing that people don't understand. It's like, you don't have to choose. Like Jesus cares about racial issues. He cares about social issues. He cares about like all of the physical things that we are going through, the struggles that we're going through. He just also cares a lot about your soul as well and where it's going to go. And so you don't have to, it's not an either or. You don't have to choose like, okay, I'm going to care about this. Yeah. It's like, no, the gospel speaks to all of that. Yeah. So just embrace it. It's good. Like, I mean, value people, value what they're going through, value their struggles, have compassion. And then also combine with that, preach the gospel to them.
Yeah. And honestly, that is the unifying factor. That is the remedy. It really is. I mean, it puts us all in it's like, oh, we're all the same here. Yep. Okay. But instead of like these vertical lines that, race can definitely do, it's good to be prideful of what God made you to be. But when it comes as a result, when it makes you separate yourself, now, in this country, there's that's what we're built on is separation. And it's, obviously we've had to kind of do that ourselves in order to survive. Yes. I'm not gonna go into all that, but
that's another podcast, of course. So we're running short on time. Yeah. We're gonna go a little over, Joseph. I'm sorry. I know you said not to, but we're gonna go a little bit over. So let's wrap this up. as far as 2021, what's the most important thing that you learned this year? We've kind of touched on a lot of that stuff, so we'll probably be pretty quick, and then we'll talk about what the future holds in 2022. What's the most important thing you learned this year?
I would say the most important thing I learned this year is that there are no accidents from God. In terms of what is placed in your life, good or bad, obviously we're given choices, and we can make choices that maybe he wouldn't want for us, but he kind of knows that we were going to do that, knowing that we would eventually get to where we need to be. But, and really just kind of trusting, especially now that since I've mentioned, like, I'm in a place now where it's like, I never imagined I would be here. And again, it is only through God's grace that I'm here. And it is only through everything that sucked that I'm here.
Yeah.
So, it's not new, and I've experienced that time and time again, but to have it lead to me being at what I feel like is the highest point I've been so far in my life, just stable and happy and optimistic and fulfilled, and it's like, all of that is a gift. I didn't make myself feel these ways. I didn't do these things so I would feel this way. Even if I did, that wouldn't. Things don't make you, I'm going to do this so I'm going to feel better. It's like, you don't know how you're going to feel.
Yeah.
All of that is a gift, and none of it is an accident. So I'm really trying to tap into that. And it really helps me look forward and realize, like, hey, whatever comes, again, this is nothing new.
Yeah, man.
But whatever comes, it's like, it is meant, it is purposeful, and ultimately it leads to something better.
Yeah, that's powerful, man. I would say the most important thing I've learned this year is that I can trust God.
I've heard you say that in a recent podcast.
Yeah, it's just like this thing that, like, I've learned recently that, like, we have to be constantly reminded of, because I read this in a couple of different books, but we've inherited from, our answers, however you interpret the beginning of Genesis and all that, but we've inherited this lie. It's like literally been passed down in our genes. There's like this new study of this thing called epigenetics, where you can actually like inherit trauma and different things like in your genes. But we've inherited this lie that we can't trust God. That's literally what Genesis 3 is about. It's just like, hey, he said this, but you can't trust him. He's holding out on you. Don't believe him. He's not going to provide for you. He's not going to care about you. You got to do it for yourself. And so that's why, like, I think we have to be constantly, every week, every day, reminded, no, I can trust him. I can trust him. He is worthy of being trusted. Like, he does want what's best for me. I don't have to do it for myself. I can't really do it for myself. I think just realizing that I am a lot more okay with insecurity. And when I say insecurity, I mean, like, I don't mean like internal insecurity. Like, obviously we don't want to be insecure in here, but like, as far as like my life being secure in the financial Western sense of the word, like, hey man, you have security. You did it. You achieved the American dream. You went to college. You got the degree. Got the job. Got the house. You won the game essentially. I'm realizing that I don't. Number one, that doesn't do anything for me. It doesn't fulfill me. But number two, like, I'm actually okay with giving it up.
Yeah.
Which is like insane to say out loud.
I mean, I think it's amazing because, and we were talking about this last night, the way that things are is arbitrary. Anything that humans create is arbitrary. It can be in any number of ways. So the fact that this natural flow of life has become, yes, you check off these things, you go to college, get the job, get the house, get married, get a car, get a dog, whatever it may be. And it's like, oh, you did all those things? Look at you. You made it.
Yeah.
Happiness is abound. And it's like, most people who just do that, they're not fulfilled.
No.
It's kind of a cyclical existence. So I'm really proud of you, and I'm happy to see you kind of really looking at your situation critically.
Yeah.
And being able to say, like, you know what? There's got to be more. And there is.
Yeah. Yeah, man. And then also just, you know, like contemplating the end, like contemplating death. Like, I mean, we both lost our grandma this year. So we're out of grandparents.
We're fresh out,
Man. And so just like processing that every day in my own little way, like just slowly, just things will pop up and I'm just like, dang.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, just processing like the change and the inevitable change of things. And it's just like, man, like I can't rely on anything but God. Like, and again, it sounds so cliche, but it's like, it's reality. Like I genuinely, everything that I've tried to rely on has proven that I can't rely on it except for him. So that's kind of the biggest thing I've learned in 2021. I'm probably going to continue to learn it moving forward. So to wrap this up, man, what are your plans for 2022? Maybe 2 or 3 things that you got you're excited about.
Yeah. Well, getting married.
Oh, yeah.
So there's that.
Something small.
Everything will change from there. There's a very, very good chance that I'll be going on tour with a band over in Europe.
What?
In the UK.
You didn't tell me that. Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's kind of a newer development. Yeah, I mean, I'm still almost in disbelief that it will happen or that I'll even like go or be able to go for.
Yeah, I mean, there's COVID.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. Yeah. But it's in the works. It would be 2 different tours, one in June, one in August.
Wow.
So that would be pretty crazy. And first time over there.
Yeah, man.
I've always wanted to go, and
I would have been going if it wasn't for COVID.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's that. That might happen. We'll see about another fragrance.
Oh yeah. Awesome.
We'll see about that. And beyond that, just continued growth with the channel, of course, and musically, I'm in an interesting place because things are opening up. I'm playing a lot more.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Been just having a great time back on the scene and performing. Artistically, my music is kind of in a, I don't even know how to say it really. I don't want to say it's not growing, but it's in a maintenance mode I'm definitely refining things, but I'm not like artistically pushing myself and saying like, oh, I'm recording records and I'm booking tours and I'm playing around town a lot and doing all these projects. I'm doing stuff like very individually that could be bigger things later. So I've had to actually really make peace with that over the past year because I felt like I was just kind of like doing gigs and going where I need to go, but still having a good time. And a lot of my energy, as I was talking about earlier, really going into YouTube, primarily because it's a source of stability.
Yeah. I mean, let's just be real.
It's really proven to be
doing its thing.
It's really been a liberating thing. So just continued growth, continually leaning on God through all the growth and all the lack thereof, or at least what feels like lack thereof. So those are my plans.
That's cool, man. That's really dope. You didn't tell me about that. So for me, I think the biggest thing is being a part of this church plant with the Garage Community Church, and just like putting a lot into it and, investing into the community there and just really like doing something, like something that I've been talking about for a long time. I've been passionate about, like all of the, issues that I've had with quote unquote the church. This is my attempt to do it what I think is better. Not what I think, but like just try to like do the best that we can do. And, preaching more, definitely doing more teaching and preaching. And, starting going to seminary, really challenging myself in that sense, like seeing where I'm at, seeing what I know, how I can get better.
I think that's gonna be dope.
Continuing to love my wife and continuing to see if we can, have a baby. I'm still working on that, praying for that. And then just really seeing where my career path is going to go. That's the thing, and just trying to trust God more and live in abundance instead of scarcity. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's like the theme of this episode, which is really dope. But yeah, man, it has been a pleasure.
Pleasure's
as
mine.
always. It's super fun to have you on these things. And yeah, man, thank you for your time, bro.
Thanks for having me. Love you too, bro.
To all his audience checking it out, thank you guys for coming through.
Thanks
man.
for pulling up.
We will see you guys in 2022. Have an amazing New Year, Christmas, and all that stuff. And see y'all later, man. Peace.